It's so cold, you guys.
Sorry, at the beginning, it just looked like I decided to gag you.
Keep it accurate for the 50 Shades review.
As per contract.
Sarah's tied up in the trunk. She'll be reviewing it from there.
Or Brian and I have an arrangement. Whenever we disagree, I punish him. I
need to do it.
I make him go see the movie again. Sorry, dude.
I was thinking about bringing a blanket, and I'm really regretting not doing so.
There was a lot in the theater. There was a lot of blankets in the theater. Do we review the movie first or the audience?
Oh, fucking the audience. Okay, so we went and saw 50 Shades of Grey, and what you're picturing the audience as is exactly what we got. It was wall-to-wall, shrieking, half-drunk 40-year-old women.
And it was kind of amazing.
And about a couple of teenagers behind me, because that was not a grown woman making that noise.
There was a teenage girl sitting next to me. It was like the Twilight audience got older but still had the same shitty taste in things. This was such a weird audience.
I described it today like, when you're watching mediocre softcore porn and you keep getting distracted because the chubby teenager behind you keeps making orgasm noises? Mm-hmm. It was like that.
It was like that if they were all your mom's friends. I got here way earlier than you guys did because I wanted to throw my coat down and save a couple of seats, and it was already pretty crowded when I got here, and I got in the theater it was pretty full. I was honestly shocked I found the seats that I did. Mm-hmm. And I said to one lady, I was like, are those seats over there taken? And the lady looked up to me, again, probably like 40, I don't know. She looked up to me and she goes, no, they aren't. That was not the first time something like that happened. And I was one of only 2 guys there.
So you were one of possibly 3 guys, because it was definitely you, and there was definitely a guy behind us, and then either a dude or a woman with a really butch haircut, and then a couple of
that woman would probably be a Kingsman. There was, when I went up to get when I got up to get popcorn, there was the lady who said, "Oh, don't step on my beaver." It was like the Twilight audience if they wanted to fuck you.
Would not shut up about a goddamn beaver. It must have been a stuffed beaver. I never saw the thing, but she would just, it's crazy times. Sherry's showing everyone her beaver.
That is classic Sherry. When she has a few cosmos in her. Drinking problem. Everyone's seen her beaver. She is totally a Samantha.
There was one part of the movie where it just went dead quiet, and then you heard the distinct sound of a booze bottle falling over and rolling across the floor.
I thought so hard of silently letting one rip in the middle of the movie, but then I remembered you were sitting right next to me.
I appreciate your concern. I probably would have assumed it was Sherry.
Next time, I'll save it for the sequel. I'll hold it in that long. So it was an audience where they were shrieking during all of the opening credits.
Like the first time, when it got far enough into the opening credits and they weren't letting up, I'm like, they're gonna do this for the entire movie, aren't they?
That would be amazing.
They practically did, because anytime anything remotely sexy happened on screen, there'd at least be someone like, wee, or just laughing, or orgasm girl behind me.
The girl next to me was not having any of that at the beginning of it. The girl sitting next to me, who it seemed like she did want to see the movie. Like, I think she might have liked it by the end of it. She was just this young girl. But she wasn't having any of the catcalling. She looked like she was maybe in her 20s, and she said something. During the opening credits, she was sitting there, and she goes, my God, these fucking housewives need to get laid.
I concur.
Well, you've read the book.
I have read the book. I live tweeted the book. And then, the next day, my mom favorited a couple of the tweets.
Did she really?
Yeah, I texted her. I'm like, thanks for favoriting my tweets. And she's like, you made it farther than I did. I got 40 pages into that book, and I gave up on a hoof. How long is it? 514 pages.
Oh, damn.
I counted, because I read it over the course of 2 days. And so, day 1, I stopped on page 250 and went and did something productive with the rest of my night. And then, towards the end of the second half, I was, counting ahead, okay, I've only got 15 pages. Crap, I miscounted, I've got 34 pages.
How far did you make it beforehand? Because you had stopped reading it before, right?
The thing is, I can compare it to the spot in the movie, but they changed a lot of stuff. In the movie, when they go over to we're jumping ahead here, when they go to his parents' house to for that dinner party.
Oh, yeah.
In the book version, he had stolen her panties, and she didn't want to ask for them back because that would be giving him back the power. So she's sitting pantyless at the table at at his parents' dinner party, and he's groping at her leg, and that part's way more prolonged in the book because she's having to keep push him off while she's trying to have a conversation with his mother.
Yeah.
And then she mentions she's going to Georgia, and he gets really, really angry and pretty much drags her out of the room and takes her off to the boathouse. And she goes, please don't hit me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, done!
I saw a much better scene like that in a kinky sex movie from the 70s. It was called The Image. They're all having dinner together, and instead, let me see if I can remember how this goes. It's been a while. Instead of kind of groping at her and whatnot, he's sticking food up there.
Oh, God.
No, but the capper is the waiter comes up and says, "Will there be anything else tonight?" And she goes, "No thanks, I'm stuffed."
And then the trombonist comes up and goes, womp, womp, womp.
I saw that 10 years ago, so just picturing me getting off work at the radio station watching that by myself, and that line happens, and I go, ha!
And meanwhile, 10 years later, you're like, I'm stuffed.
10 years
because
later.
I remember that scene in
I
vivid
remember
detail.
that line.
Vivid detail.
I remember that line. I don't remember early 20-year-old Brad. I don't remember disliking that movie. But
Well, yeah, this movie was... It's hard for me to say whether it was good or not, because it was just so much better than the book
yeah.
that I'm having... Because I don't think it was a good movie. I
Me
think,
neither.
objectively speaking, it was not a good movie, but they improved a lot of the writing, and they made both characters a lot more likable. So I enjoyed it more than I expected to. They still had to deal with the fact that the plot fucking goes nowhere and then just ends.
Dear God, honestly, yeah, my biggest thing of this is it's not the movie. I haven't read the book, but from what you've said about it and from what other people have said about it, it sounds like a train wreck. The movie, it's not good, but it's not.
It's not offensive.
Not really. I mean, for what is basically going to be the next Twilight series, it's not even, and because of that, there are going to be people downvoting this movie like crazy and saying it's the worst movie ever made, blah blah blah. It's not a very good movie, but it isn't Twilight bad. But also because of that, part of me almost wishes it was, because then at least maybe it would have been mildly entertaining for reasons. This movie's not very entertaining. The movie's honestly really, really boring. And that,
because I described it outside as being 65% sex scene, and you tended to disagree. I do think that it was a lot more sex scenes than a movie would have been if it wasn't based on a book that was basically erotica.
For a mainstream movie in this day and age, yeah, there are a lot of sex scenes in this movie.
And there's Bush just as a matter of course. It's not ta-da, we're showing you Bush. It was just Bush would wander by.
Compared to an erotic thriller of, say, the 90s, if we're getting into, Basic Instinct territory, or even the 80s with stuff like 9.5 Weeks or Body Heat, things like that, this movie is nothing. Especially for a movie that has to do with S&M, bondage, all that. My God, is it really kind of lame?
It is. Well, because the only things that I enjoyed about it, other than the fact that those two actors were giving it their all, God bless them, was that they kind of made it more real than sex scenes tend to be nowadays. Because, the part that I'm thinking of in particular is, when he first pulls down her drawers, and she's kind of, on the side, and the light hits her, and her thighs are unshaved.
Yeah.
And, of course, half the audience starts laughing.
Oh, the girl next to me was like, what is up with her legs?
Fucking nobody shaves their thighs in the dead of winter. That is what's up with her legs. She's in college, for Christ's sake.
I didn't mind that at all.
I liked it. And it wasn't it didn't look like man legs, just looked like a lady who hadn't shaved her thighs in a couple of weeks.
And when I say the sex scenes are lame, it isn't necessarily the sex scenes in this movie are well shot. They're well shot. The music works in them. They're edited fine. But for a movie based on a book, both of which are known for being, I guess, relatively kinky, boy, this is a vanilla movie.
Yeah, they tamed the kinkiness down a great deal. I think for the most part it was to make the characters more likable. Because first of all, Anna enjoyed most of the sex in this movie way more than she did. Well, let's say more and less. Because in the book, like the kinky aspects, she's very tentative and kind of almost afraid.
Yeah.
And like the part where he spanks her for rolling her eyes at him. In the movie, she's kind of like a throw across his lap, whap whap whap, and she's over here giggling. In the book, after he leaves, she bursts out crying and spends the rest of the night crying, and then he comes over and comforts her. But on the other hand, in the book, Anna will orgasm if you look at her funny. Whereas I don't think she came time one in this movie.
Anastasia Steele.
Anastasia Steele.
That doesn't sound like the character's name. That sounds like it should be the name of the person who wrote the book.
I think Danielle Steele's half-daughter.
Yeah, who's really kinky, apparently.
Well, the thing is like, I think that taking her orgasms out kind of did it a disservice, because, like, he's got this whole plan set out. We'll get into the plot in a second.
Oh, man.
Where, you know, he's gonna, like, introduce her to all of his proclivities, as it were, and he's like, well, you know, when you've had sex before, what did you enjoy, what didn't you enjoy? And she's like, I've never had sex before. And he's like, we'll remedy that!
I like it in the ear.
Hauls her off into the bedroom and has his wicked way with her. And in the book, she comes like 5 times in that scene. In the movie, he pretty much just throws her down, fucks her, and that's the end of the scene.
Yeah.
How is that for her benefit? You know, I think that it takes the power away from the character in that instance.
From her character or from his?
From her character.
Yeah.
It's like, for a movie that's supposed to be lady porn, I think there should have been a lot more lady orgasms.
Yeah. They were playing it. They played the movie very safe. They played the movie extremely safe. They wanted to get as much into an R-rated movie as they could without having to cut anything for an NC-17. And since this movie is as mainstream as it was, they probably would have given it a fucking R anyway. Like, for instance, yeah, there's all of the female nudity in the movie, and nothing really in terms of
You see
Jamie
his
Dornan.
butt twice, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, once in situ and once, you know, a humping. And you see, like, bush and slight neck at one point, but it just, like, flashes past so fast you can't see it. Meanwhile, we're hovering on bush. Lady Bush.
Yeah.
It's just, it's very uneven, I think. Because, like, in one scene, they're, like, talking openly about, like, anal fisting and butt plugs, and in the next scene, it's just, like, softly lit flashes of them tying each other to stuff.
Because it's easier to show female nudity in an R-rated movie than it is to show male nudity. Like,
which is bullshit!
You get really close to I mean, there are R-rated movies that do have dick in them. It's rare. It's rare, and I don't know how they sneak that by in the MPA, because usually they'll go after anything that's got dick in it and give it an NC-17.
And I read about that, and you can't show a rect dick.
You can't show. Yeah, I believe
but
that's true.
You can, like, hover on her nipples for a full 2 minutes with
Yeah.
ice cubes being rubbed on them. It's stupid, and I hate it.
Do you wish this movie was maybe more like the book, so maybe it would have been at least not as boring? It would have made it a worse movie, but at least there would have been something.
I would have been madder,
Yeah.
probably, but if they had, like, gone whole hog, like, put the inner goddess in there, that would have been funny. Have I told you about this?
I don't think so.
In the book, she's got these characters in her brain that she consults with, and that we constantly flash to find out what their reactions are to the situation, and those are her subconscious, who's like this kind of stern librarian who looks over her glasses at every situation, and the inner goddess, who does, like, obnoxious pirouettes whenever something sexy happens. And when I was tweeting, I was kind of hoping it'd be, like, portrayed by tiny Kristen Chenoweth, like, on her shoulder in a tutu.
The dog from The Voices.
I don't know, Davy.
No, do it. Take it in the ass.
Do fisting, you like it. I can't do accents.
It would have been. It would have made that sounds just stupid. That totally would have made this movie worse. But is it better to have a movie that's like that bad, or a movie that's just kind of just? I don't get it. Like, I guess there's probably going to be people who really love this movie, maybe because they like the book. I don't know, but it's not. I wish I could get more passionate about this thing. I really, really do. if anything, because I've, for the love of God, for the past couple weeks, have I gotten tweets saying, "Oh man, I can't wait for you to lay into this piece of shit, man."
You'd have to read the book and then lay into that piece of shit. Well, because the thing is, in the book, Anna is such an insufferable idiot that if they had portrayed her like this and like that in the movie, yeah, it would have made it more entertaining to make fun of after the fact, but it would have made it a much rougher sit, I think.
It's kind of like, okay,
like, you know,
like in The Host, with her inner thoughts and all that shit from that movie.
More like, what's that Anna Faris movie where she's like falling over every 5 seconds and she's wearing like bridesmaids dresses or something?
That is all of the Anna Faris movies.
So that one. Because, like, you know, the very first scene in the movie when she goes to interview Gray and she goes to open the door and she just, like, falls into the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's her character throughout the entirety of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Just that big of an idiot. So, like, the little changes that they made in the movie, like when she runs into him at the hardware store and he's buying, like, zip ties and rope and masking tape. And in the movie, she's like, well, your serial killer kid is all ready. In the book, she has no idea what's going on. She's like, oh, you must be doing house repairs. What does he need masking tape for? I don't understand.
The thing is, I really liked her in this movie.
She's entertaining.
Yeah.
That actress was really
She was
good.
great. She was so good. Like, I don't know if somebody told her this was a comedy, but she performs this like it's a comedy. And she's good. Like, her lines are funny. Her reactions are very funny. Intentionally funny. Not like, oh, that's stupid what they just did in Twilight.
Yeah, no,
not like that. Like,
timing is
it's
spot on.
really good.
And, like, her reactions during the kinkier parts of the sex scenes make it less brutal than they are in the books. Because, like, in the book, she's all, like, crying and doesn't understand what's going on. Whereas in this, she's just, like, laughing, like, okay, this isn't my thing, and it's a little ridiculous, but I'm into it. You know?
Yeah, she's, like, trying not to snicker. She's trying not to laugh. She played this part really right compared to everything that I've heard about how this character is in the book. Like, and I wish I could say that about Jamie Dornan.
He was very pretty. That's about all he had going for him, but he was very pretty and very befuddled looking.
He sucked.
He kind of sucked.
He was awful.
There's a part towards the end that, like, in the book, it actually did get me a little bit when they're having, like, their big blow up about how he wants to beat the crap out of her and she doesn't understand why.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, what if I told you that I feel the same way about you hitting me as you feel about me touching you on your torso and the burning spots? And in the book, it just, like, gobsmacks him. Like, his whole world is shattered, whereas in this movie, she says that and he's like, what? No.
He had one note in this movie. That was it. He delivers all of his lines the same way. Like, okay, like, it'd be great if there was an actor in the role who maybe would treat that part like she did. Like, actually have some fun with some of these lines. Actually make some humor out of some of these lines. But whereas she is saying stuff in the movie that in the book, like you said, would be very stupid, but in the movie she's playing it perfectly to where it's genuinely funny. Like, her part in this movie is like it's from a comedy. Meanwhile, he is doing none of that. Like, the lines that he has in the movie are awful. They're read awful. They're acted awful. There is not one single shred of charisma in this guy's performance throughout the whole movie. None. Like, I don't buy this guy as a businessman. I don't buy him knowing anything he's talking about in this movie.
Well, in his defense, you don't buy the character he's playing as a businessman in the book.
Okay.
And again, he was very, very pretty, so he has that going for him. But yeah, he was not a very good actor. And the thing is, like, I read a couple articles about, like, those two actors outside of the movie hating each other's guts.
Oh.
And at the time I read it, I'm like, well, you know, in the back of my brain, I'm like, well, you know, she's probably crazy, because of my occasional accidental sexism, I tend to think that all actresses are crazy. But after watching the movie, I'm like, well, maybe she's the good one.
Yeah, she's at least the better actor. She's, like, he reads all of his lines as if he is an actor who does not know English and doesn't know what he's saying. Like, if you've ever seen a movie like that, like when Arnold was in Hercules in New York and he was right off the boat and didn't speak a word of English, and they just said, say this.
Don't they do, like, some of the earlier Jackie Chan movies are like that?
Kinda, yeah.
Jackie Chan's got the charisma to carry him through, though.
Yeah, like, if just a little bit of, boy, this movie needed a James Spader. Almost like I should watch Secretary
This
instead.
guy was like their second choice. There was some other guy that
It's
they
Charlie
wanted instead.
Hunnam.
Okay.
Charlie Hunnam was the original actor, and I've had some issues with Charlie Hunnam and some of the stuff that he's been in, and you know what? Honestly, I'm sure like maybe I would see something else this guy is in, and maybe he would be just fine. Just not in this movie. I don't know how much better Charlie Hunnam would have been, honestly. I don't, but like, if this movie had somebody in his role who was playing the part much like she was, like, okay, when he says, I'm 50 Shades of fucked up, you could have gotten, like, a really charismatic actor to really deliver that tongue-in-cheek.
Which the problem is that, and I was talking about this outside, they improved a lot of the writing in the movie, but some of the lines from the book, they specifically kept because they're people's favorite lines.
Yeah.
And 50 Shades of Fucked Up was one of them.
Uh-huh.
In the book, it was earlier on in the book, and then it keeps being referenced in case
Okay.
you didn't notice.
When he
So I think that's the reason he said it, like he was dropping the hammer.
every time.
But it's such a dumb line.
Yes, and he didn't deliver it. Like, he didn't even deliver it tongue-in-cheek or with any kind of humor or any way, shape, or form. It felt like a bad actor in a really boring Cinemax movie. Whereas she has stupid lines that even in the trailer are dumb, and they are technically stupid lines. But we're actually...
Is that where you keep your ex?
Yeah, that line is... It's dumb in the trailer, and it is dumb in the movie, too. But at least in the movie... She was like that through a lot of this movie, where she was saying really silly things, and it kind of worked, because she's a really good actress. And even that line in the movie kind of worked for me, because it wasn't that out of nowhere in the movie. It seemed like that is probably something she would have asked him.
And the thing is, like, in the book, that character is so childish, you kind of feel like she shouldn't be having sex, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Whereas in the movie, she's pulling off that kind of, like, Marilyn Monroe-y ingenue thing, where, yeah, she's talking like a baby, but as a believable grown-ass woman. You know? So, like, when she's, you know, talking about the fisting and the butt plug and stuff, it doesn't make you uncomfortable. It's like, oh, you.
Yeah, it was, that part was funny. That part was really, it was genuinely funny. Like, that scene is intended to be humorous. And then here is this fucking douchebag who's giving her nothing to work with. She is carrying this entire movie on her shoulder. And if there was another actor who was really good other than him, I might have been able to recommend this. Maybe. I would have been closer to recommending this movie. But otherwise, it's just, here's a good actor with kind of a funny character. And then that block of fucking wood.
Very pretty block of wood that she's a-humping.
For reasons. Like, because the script wants her to. Like, okay. And it doesn't even make... A lot of this really doesn't make any sense. Because there's so many lines in this movie where he's like, it's you that's changing me. And... I told you, I'm not the romantic type. Meanwhile, throughout this entire movie, he is doing romantic things.
He's taking her, like, in a ride in the helicopter.
Yeah.
And, like, on the glidey thing, which that looked fucking terrifying.
Fuck that shit.
I don't have the heights problem that you do, but I still would not do that ever.
Oh, even when she got in the helicopter, I was like,
Nope. I've been in a helicopter before. That one was fun, but that gliding thing, it's like, if one wrong move, and how do you stop from just plummeting into the ground?
Nope. That's a lot of nope.
You gotta drug your milk, and then you wake up on a glider.
Duh. If I can crash that thing, I'll film it. It'll be safely on the ground. Yeah. But yeah, his character just seems like a schizo in this movie. Because sometimes he is so adamant against romance, but throughout 60% of this movie is fairly romantic. It doesn't make any sense.
It sure doesn't. And the thing is, like, it kind of explains that he's a basket case because he was adopted by this, you know, really wealthy family, but before that, his mom was like a crack whore prostitute.
Yeah.
In the book, he explains it to her, and she's like, oh, okay, that explains why you do what you do. And in the movie, he says it to her while she's sound asleep.
But she did wake up, didn't she?
She woke up after he, like, patted her on the head, but she slept through that entire revelation.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind that so much. I didn't mind that so much necessarily. Like, I'm glad she ended up waking up in the scene, but okay, kind of looking at it from his character's perspective, like, I really should get this out in the open. Maybe I should practice by telling her in her sleep. Like, all right. Like, it was that, to me, that was one of the less creepy things he did in this.
Yeah, that for me wasn't creepy. It was just, I didn't understand it. I'm sorry, go on.
He's a creep in this movie. That's it. He's just a creep. Like, I don't know. Like, is it not as abusive? You said it wasn't as abusive as it was in the book.
They tamed down a lot of the physicality
there are
of it.
hints of that in this movie.
But the thing is, like, in the book, he is the character is a dominant, so like when he's in those situations, the dominance kind of overtakes him and he gets like kind of cold and lean and cruel about it. Whereas in this, he almost seemed kind of terrified of the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah, in this, like, boy, did I not buy him as a dominant. I did not buy him as anything in this film. She dominates over him in every way, shape, or form throughout this movie.
Which, you know, we've referenced Secretary a lot talking about this movie. And in Secretary, I think that it explained a lot better the kind of like power play that's involved in a relationship like that, and how the sub actually does have a lot of the power in the relationship. But in this, it seemed less like because that's the way one of those relationships works best, and more so because he's a terrible dominant. yeah, like I can buy that that's the point of this movie, like you just said, like that whole power play between them. I get that is probably an intent that they're going for with this movie, but it's exactly what you just said. Even if that wasn't the fucking case, boy, do I not buy him as any kind of dominant who's gonna be hitting someone with a fucking whip or paddle with his stupid ripped jeans. And in the book, they explain those jeans. So let me explain them to you real quick. Because in the book, she has a dream that he's got like ripped jeans and a riding crop, and then she tells him about that fantasy. And then the next time they could do it, he's wearing ripped jeans, like to please her, you know. In this, he's wearing ripped jeans because it's his fucking idea.
Yeah, he just likes himself some fucking ripped jeans.
But like, back to him not really playing that character well. Like, in the last scene where she's gotten to kind of the breaking point where she doesn't understand how this relationship works for him and why he wants to physically abuse her. And she's like, do your worst. Do the worst to me so I can understand it. And so he gets her in the butt with a belt. And
I was sitting there like, this is the worst. In a room that looks like...
In the book, it's brutal. You know, he basically canes her. And in this, he's sitting there like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's like, you obviously don't need this. Just go have vanilla sex in the white bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sitting there like, this is the worst. Like, a paddle a couple times like on the back in a room that has horse tails in it. That's the word. Okay, like for this room that has all kinds of objects and gears and fucking levers and shit like that in there, boy, they don't do much in there beyond like riding crop a couple times, some rope, a couple
like
handcuffs.
That montage-y bit, and I think that was supposed to represent a bunch of different sessions, but
so lame.
It was just him tying her to stuff.
That was it. That would be like if I don't know, you got like a big wide shot of the island of Capri and Caligula, but all we saw was like the people making a naked person pyramid.
I would have laughed if they'd opened the red room and there was like that bicycle in the back.
Yeah. Hey, I know what that is.
There's the call of the fans.
Stilts
fans
up against the wall.
The fish pool.
Yeah. But
I promised that I'd go over the plot, but
that's pretty much, there's not that much to it, honestly, if you've seen the trailer. Like, the movie ends really abruptly.
Oh god, yeah, he tans her hide, and she's like, nope, I'm done, and then just leaves.
Yeah, I sat there like, what is the point of this shit I just watched? Like, I know that there's sequels, but I didn't know the movie was gonna end that abruptly. I was glad it was over because I was bored. I was bored. I really was. This was, as much as I really liked her in this movie, and as much as I did genuinely enjoy her character, I think it's largely because I enjoyed her character so much in this movie that I did not want to see her with this person. Who's just a creeper. Like,
she shouldn't be with Jose, because Jose's a doofus. But that blonde guy at the hardware store, that could go somewhere.
in the one scene he was in. Yeah, the hose. I forgot about the Jose guy. He seemed like a tool.
He was a tool. He tried to mouth rape her, Jacob style.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as he showed up, I'm like, I know where this is going. I've seen this movie 4 times. And so yeah, like, he just, when he I don't know, like, when he randomly shows up, when he randomly takes her away to just slap her on the ass and shit like that, there's nothing suave about this guy. There's nothing cool about him. There's nothing charismatic about him.
He did have one cool moment in the movie. There was one of the sex scenes at the beginning where he had her, like, tied to the bed, and he just, like, I think it was the ice cube bit, because he put the ice cube in her belly button, and then in one smooth movement, flipped her over, hiked her hips up, and just whacked her on the butt.
Oh yeah, that was
suave.
alright.
But
Yeah,
past
that was
no,
that was
he was
fine.
just a block of wood.
Yeah, and so, like, because of that, he didn't come across as someone who she has, like, any chemistry with at all. So he just comes across as a creep who's just following her around everywhere.
I wasn't sure if that was because I knew that they hated each other, if it was because they actually didn't have chemistry. But yeah, I didn't feel it at all between the two of them.
No, me neither. Except in, like, a few different things in the sex scenes. But that's,
It's just so carefully orchestrated.
Yeah.
You don't know how much of that was them and how much of that was the choreographer.
That's what editing the music, all that, which was fine.
I liked the music in this. There was that
Actually,
really weird
I didn't mind the soundtrack.
cover of I'm on Fire, but it was so low that I couldn't hear much of it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mind, and that's my favorite Springsteen song.
Mine too.
The little bit I heard of that cover didn't, like, make me mad or anything.
It's tied probably between that and Atlantic City.
For Springsteen?
Yes.
I'm on Fire, and I like Streets of Philadelphia a lot.
I like Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Yeah, when I saw him in
Have you
concert.
been a good boy, Claus?
When I just saw him in concert and he opened with a cover of Then He Kissed Me from but it was from the Crystals, and it was the lyrics were changed to Then She Kissed Me. Would you recommend this at all?
Nope.
No, me neither.
Watch Secretary.
Yeah, oh god. Watch Secretary or 9.5 Weeks or Basic Instinct, whatever.
Watch Fear.
It's yeah, there are way more roller coasters in that movie.
Way more charisma in that movie.
By far. I don't think that this movie is, like, any kind of train wreck necessarily. Like, this movie is not going to end up on my worst movies of the year list at the end of the year. Its biggest crime is that it's some of the acting and that it's just kind of a boring movie.
It's vanilla.
Oh my god, no wonder the fucking housewives in there liked it so much.
I bet Sherry's Beaver liked it.
There was some girl, like, on the way out who did not like him either. Who did not like the main guy. I overheard it on the way out, and they pretty much said the same thing we did. They were like, well, he was pretty. And that was it, really. He was pretty, I guess.
I read an article that apparently E.L. James and the lady who did this movie kind of butted heads a lot when they were doing it. One of the things they butted heads about was when she's getting on the elevator after she's dumped him, and he goes to chase after, and she's like, no, stop, and he stops, and then she fucks off. And apparently the lady who did the movie wanted to make her say red, like, as the safety word. They're like, oh, that would have been so clever, and I was like, I guess, but having watched it, I think that would have had the wrong connotation. Because it would have meant that she was still playing.
Yeah.
She totally wasn't.
That would have been stupid. That would have been really stupid. Like, it was way more dramatic when she just screamed no at him at the end. And that was the only time in the movie where he was legitimately kind of threatening. Like, when he charged at her at the end. Because he had those... Probably because he didn't have any lines. Maybe that helped. Because he does have those steely fucking eyes.
Which is probably part of the reason they hired him.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I was trying to think of other actors that would have played that role better. I'm like, well, because Rob Stark, he was in Cinderella. He's about the right age.
Rob Lowe.
Yes, have it be Rob Lowe. He's got the steely blues.
Adam Scott.
I would have paid money to see Adam Scott in this movie. I would have paid any amount of money. But again, we're talking about Hot Tub Time Machine 2 in there, and I'd watch Adam Scott read out of a phone book.
I like
He's
Adam
just so
Scott.
charming.
That's next week. Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Sweet. Yeah, yeah, actually, those actors, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
He's too big.
He's charismatic.
I got the guy who played Littlefinger. He's got gray eyes.
He would be amazing.
A little bit too old, but that's the only reason.
Just fuck it, Spader.
Just get Spader again. Mm-hmm. Use the CGI Ultron.
Mm-hmm. You could still call him E. Edward Grey and keep the title.
I got no strings on me, but I got some to tie on you and then do a bet.
Well, we would have enjoyed the movie at least. I don't know about the audience.
I gotta remember whatever the fuck, Christian Grey being so old and puffy, but by God, he is oozing sex.
Or well, there is that spoof trailer that's online now where it's Steve Buscemi.
I would enjoy that. I think Steve Buscemi's a sexy dude.
I'd rather see. He would do a much better job in this movie than Jamie Dornan did, if I'm getting his name right.
Get like Cillian Murphy, he would have been good.
He would have been good. Oh, that fucking guy we saw in fucking Jupiter Ascending last week. The bad guy, Eddie Redmayne.
Lips caught in a pool drape.
Yes! Only if he plays the part exactly like he did in that movie.
I create life!
I'm 50 Shades of fucked up! Fuck it, he could also play the part as his role in Theory of Everything, where he's Stephen Hawking. Oh, you don't like that? Well, the movie wouldn't have been as boring.
Not to say that differently able don't have active and varied sex lives. I just think that it would have been strange.
Well, I would have enjoyed it. 4 stars. The best movie I've seen all year. Give him a second Oscar. This is a critic-proof movie. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter what the critics say. People are gonna go see this fucking movie.
Which means I have to read the other 2 books, which makes me mad, which means I have to actually spend money on them.
If you watch this movie, I don't think you'd be mad if you rented it and watched it at home. I cannot recommend theater prices for this movie.
No. Plus you'd have to deal with the housewives.
Yeah, which was kind of amazing. But, no, like, I don't know. If you have to watch it, I would say just watch it at home. But honestly, it's just lame. That's it. That's all I got. I don't think I have anything else about this. It was just lame.
Now, my handwriting is worse than usual on these.
Oh, no. We had all of the lady trailers at the beginning of this.
Okay, so we got Woman in Gold.
I missed that.
Oh, it was the one where I think it was Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds. And she's playing like this Austrian woman whose picture got stolen by the Nazis.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It looked like a Klimt.
I've seen some TV trailers for that.
Uh-huh. It looked pretty good. I mean, Oscar Beatty, obviously, but... The Lazarus Effect. Yeah,
I'll probably be at that movie. That was the one trailer that we got that wasn't marketed towards this audience.
Yeah, it was like a horror movie. I was genuinely surprised because I expected it to turn into a comedy halfway through because Donald Glover was in it.
Yeah.
And that guy from The League.
Oh man, I don't know. I've only seen a few episodes
Paul Scheer,
of that.
not Nick Kroll, but one of the other 2 generic-looking guys.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've caught that trailer like once or twice. I don't remember that much about that trailer other than I will probably be at that movie. That seems like a me and Brian movie.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that one. Age of...
Oh, that's
Age of
the Abigail or Adeline?
Adeline, maybe?
Yeah, the one where it looked like boring Winter's Tale.
From my arm, it looks like Age of Mitterlejal. So that one.
Age of Adeline Ultron. Yeah, it looked like
a car crash that turns her into an immortal. And the lady next to me loved that idea.
Oh yeah, the girls next to me.
Live forever, always look young. I don't see no downside from where I'm sitting.
Hook up with Harrison Ford? Hey, Harrison Ford's in it.
He was like Harrison Ford and then some other generic love interest. I'm like, just go with Harrison Ford. He's so really good looking.
Yeah.
Cinderella. Which, if you're trying to catch up on Game of Thrones, earmuffs for a second, because it looks like in Cinderella they're just like using all the actors whose characters have died on Game of Thrones.
I noticed a few in that trailer.
Because Rob was in it, and I know Zerazo and Dawson.
I noticed him right away because he was dressed the same.
Gigantic dude.
Yeah, he seemed dressed exactly the same as he did on. That looks like something like, I don't know. I'm sure Cate Blanchett will be amazing.
Yeah, it looks like Mirror Mirror is what it looks like, but it also looks really, really pretty. So.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I didn't see Mirror Mirror, but based on the trailers, it didn't look as intolerable as that movie. This at least looks like, even if it's bad, Cate Blanchett will probably be really hammy and over the top in it.
Plus, it looks like they're going for like that sort of, medieval times by way of the 1950s that the original Cinderella was. 50s or 60s, I don't know.
Oh, the cartoon?
Yeah.
It was 50s, I think, 40s, 50s.
Something like that. But it's got that sort of like aged look to it, and I liked it because her dress was very much like Cinderella's dress, and her hair.
It didn't have the mice in it though.
Yeah.
Where's the mice? And the part where he's pulling pearls out his ass.
He's not pulling pearls out of his ass. They're threading it onto his tail.
I don't know. It seemed very suspicious 1950s. That's what the mice in my house do.
Aloha.
Oh, that.
Which is plotorific.
It's the new Cameron Crowe movie.
Plotastic.
That trailer was awful. That trailer was. Oh God, it was.
I can't even remember. He was like he got fired from the Air Force by Alec Baldwin, and then rehired by Bill Murray. Also, he ran into his ex-wife, who's dating John Krasinski. But then there's also Emma Stone as like a perky lady sidekick.
It looked like this trailer looked like a spoof trailer. It looked like the fake trailers you see on Cracked, where the characters are speaking in cliches, like that one that's like every Academy Award nominated movie ever, and the guy's like, I am a wealthy independent man who doesn't need any love interest. I am a successful woman. I think you do. Like,
I'm a plucky orphan who's just in need of a home.
Yeah. It was that. That's the part with Krasinski was funny.
That was really funny, where he like kind of gets the beer and then goes over and pats him on the shoulder. It's like, yeah, he just said, check out me, I'm working out. I'm just a little bit too handsome to find you intimidating.
I liked that part. I mean, I like Cameron Crowe. Maybe the movie's fine. Maybe it just has a shitty trailer. That trailer was bad.
It was bad in the sense that it made me not want to see the movie, but it had some funny parts, like the John Krasinski part.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you were there for the very beginning of the trailer.
Oh, that was funny.
Like, you're gonna wear this around your neck like Flava Flav wears a clock.
Yeah, that part was funny. I like Cameron Crowe, so I hope it's good. I like Bradley Cooper. I like the cast. That trailer did not seem like a real movie.
Nope. And now I kind of want to watch that spoof trailer that you talked about because I remember it. The Longest Ride.
That's a Brian and Dave movie.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
That's the new Nick Sparks movie.
I do still think that the girl in the flashback, the one that Alan Alda's dating, looks like Dave's sister-in-law Brenda.
Yeah, I can see that.
Surprisingly like her, just in the face and
yeah, I can see that.
The zestful life.
It was every Nick Sparks thing. It was like, except the guy's a bull rider, but that's dangerous. Don't do that, you might get killed. And then there's flashbacks to a couple from the 30s. It's every Nick Sparks. It's a Nick Sparks movie. You can picture this trailer in your head without me saying anything about it.
It's like two couples, no waiting. So if you don't like the one couple, you can ship the other couple. Pitch Perfect 2. I've gotten that trailer. Although this is the first time I've gotten the trailer where she came in like a wrecking ball and then flipped over, her pants split open, and she flashed her beaver at the president.
What did they think was going to happen? Not to be mean, but...
That girl, I don't remember her being a walking fat joke in the first one.
I never saw the first one.
I didn't see the first one either, but I thought they treated her with more dignity than that.
Then her coming down on a ribbon at the end of it and falling over, showing her ass to an entire audience.
And then turning around and showing her beef.
Oh my God.
To the president.
that just out Melissa McCarthy to Melissa McCarthy joke.
Like, I think you're talking about how hot she is, and it's funny because she's fat.
Yeah, they were doing, like, the one girl is like, well, as the hottest one here, I don't really know anything.
I'm pretty sure I'm the hot one.
Yeah, she says that.
People are going to be like, they're looking at the Team America, where they're all going to be thinking, why is the most talented one Australia?
Ugh. Again, that's a Brian movie. He'll love it.
Yeah, considering Dave was raving about their movie to our poor beleaguered faces, I think he should have to go to Pitch Perfect too. Trainwreck.
Oh, the movie that looked good is a movie called Trainwreck. Yeah, that's the Amy Schumer movie with Judd Apatow and Bill Hader. Yeah, that looked really funny.
I like the idea of Bill Hader as a romantic lead.
Yeah, me too. It looked like they kind of frumpied her up a little bit in the movie, but she still looked good.
Yeah, well, she's got kind of a puffy face, but it's not in a bad way. It's just the way her face is. It seemed like it might not be the most sex-positive movie, because it seemed like it was treating a sexually prolific woman as being something of a train wreck. But we'll see how it actually plays out, because Judd Apatow is usually pretty good about stuff like that.
And compared to parts like that we've seen in, say, Single Moms Club, this looks amazing.
Girl, you need a man.
Jan Malkovich.
Oh my god, I forgot that was her name.
Oh, you forgot about Jan Malkovich? Ugh. You should have gone and seen Think Like a Man 2 with us. She's in it and played the exact same character.
White woman trying to have it all.
Yep. Ugh.
That's it for trailers.
That's it for trailers. So, sorry I didn't rage about 50 Shades of Grey. It's just lame, that's it.
If you're lucky, the other two movies will be even worse.
What, next week?
No, the next two 50 Shades of Grey movies.
For a movie that's have an open ending, I completely already forgot that it has sequels. Yeah, they've already greenlit
they left
those.
a whole bunch of loose threads, because like he gets called away for a situation when he leaves Georgia after he stalks her to Georgia.
Yeah, this movie has no third act to it. I was at least expecting a third act. Maybe that's what really fucked me up, is less that it has an open ending, because okay, whatever. It legitimately felt like there was going to be like 30 or 40 minutes of this movie left, and then it ended.
The girl behind us went, well, that's it. And Brad's like, what, really?
Yeah, I looked over to you like, what, really?
Oh yeah, putting on my coat.
That was only the second noise I made in this movie. The first was...
I am 50 Shades of fucked up.
Yeah, I think I might have made...
Brad went, what?
Did I say what? Or
You sure did.
Oh, okay, I couldn't remember if I said what, or if I just went...
No, you made both of those noises, my friend.
How is that even possible? I somehow made that possible.
What?
What? Stupid. End. Alright, next week is Hot Tub Time Machine 2. The Duff.
I'm not sure which of those two I'll be yet. We'll see.
And McFarlane USA. This inspirational sports movie.
That's right. That's the one you're going to try to send Jake and them to.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, as I said, try to send Jake
So
and them to.
So if it's only 2 movies next week, you'll know that they said no. Alright, see you later.
Bye.